Hello everyone, welcome to Living Arts. I'm Jackie Suarez, I'm your host. I am delighted to have my next guest here. We have, from the Peekskill Playhouse, Mary Crescenzo, Richard Manichello, and Paul Meshes. They're going to be talking about the Playhouse, the Mary Crescenzo Band, and here we are. We have Richard and Mary. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Happy to
having
be
us.
here.
Yeah, you know, I'm a huge fan of the arts, and I just want everyone in our audience to know all about the Peekskill Playhouse, so please give us a little history on it.
Okay. We started some time ago when we met. Richard was directing one of my plays in the city, and then we decided as Peekskill residents that we wanted to create theater here, original theater that provokes and makes people think, and so we created the Peekskill Playhouse. We're both, as I said, Peekskill residents, and for now we are at the Bean Runner Cafe. They're kind enough to let us use their stage on the last Sunday of every month, and we just produce shows with wine and cheese and music as well.
Okay, cool. So you've been actually at the Bean Runner. You said that you're using that as your performance space for the moment.
At this point, yes.
Okay, so what are you looking, what's your next play going to be about?
The one that we're writing or the one that we're producing?
Both.
Okay, well, you want to talk about the March show?
We have a March program that honors the Irish. It's a historical drama, short drama, about 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it tells the story of Irish immigration here. And then we have musical entertainment to go along with it, celebrating March and everything Irish. And, you know, we try to do some things thematically. We did October shows that were thematic of Halloween,
and also
Christmas
it's
shows.
Women's History Month, so it's a women's play.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then our ongoing project, one of our ongoing projects is my play, which is called Planet A. It used to be known as Peace of Mind, P-I-E-C-E, and it's about Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
And Richard has directed it many times, and as we look for a home for our stage for Peekskill Playhouse, we're always looking for theaters to produce this work as well. And Richard wrote the Briefcase, which we recently did at the Bean Runner, and I have a show called The Tram about two Italian and American women. But it's not just our work at all. Our season is every month except the summer.
Okay.
In June we do a children's show, and we bring in emerging playwrights from the area who don't have an opportunity to have their show live in front of an audience.
That's wonderful. So I just wanted to, you have such a rich, rich history. Why don't you just give me an idea of what you've been up to since you came to Peekskill and all the things you've been involved with?
Well, I'm originally from New York City. I lived out west for a while. I was a casting director for film and television, actress myself, and always sang. And then I met my husband, Paul Meshes, at a show that was done in Peekskill through Antonia Arts. It was a progressive type of show called Peekskill Private Eyes. This was about 2005, and he was the musical director, and I was the triple threat in it. It was a mystery, and so we met and got married, and again, we have this commitment to Peekskill because we love it so much, and we said, let's form a band. And although Paul is the band director at Lakeland High School, he makes time for our music. And Richard and I are just great friends, and we have the same vision for theater, and so we're a wonderful team, I think.
I came to New York many, many years ago as an actor out of school, as a matter of fact. Did little bits and soaps and off Broadway. So theater has always been my first love, even though I ventured into television and film after many, many years in New York City. Then it was time to find something in the suburbs, and here we are in Westchester. And Mary and I realized that we were both going to be in Peekskill, and we love live entertainment, and this is one of the hardest things to do. 45 miles from New York City, is to try to establish some live entertainment, something theatrical, when we're this close to the greatest theater center in the world. But we're trying, and we'd like to get people to come to a small venue that we call ourselves Peekskill Playhouse, to see intimate plays done by new playwrights, new works.
New works.
That's really awesome, because so many people live in this area and they're involved in the arts and they think they have to travel to the city or go somewhere else, and to be able to do that right here in your backyard at local venues is really awesome.
Absolutely.
So how are you funding the project, or how do you communicate with people where you'd like to have your plays performed?
In terms of the Peekskill Playhouse, we get donations
Okay.
from sometimes people from other parts of the country as well. We are not a 501c3, we are a for-profit organization. But because we work through something called Fractured Atlas, which is a fiscal agent, they are a 401c3 and they work with organizations just like ours. So if people want to make a donation to the Peekskill Playhouse, they can filter it through Fractured Atlas. And this is all, this is done all the time, and it helps to get us funding. And we love to work on a shoestring. I think we do, I must say, a really good job with very little money. And we've never been in the red, and we just know how to make something happen, something of quality with a little bit of money and a lot of imagination, we hope.
Doing a lot with a little.
Absolutely.
That's the story of my life.
Can be done.
You can't really mount a capital campaign until you have a home. And so
True.
that's what Mary and I would love a lot, as so many other people would love to have a little home that we can call the actual Peekskill
Playhouse
Playhouse.
itself.
Yeah, a brick and mortar
physical
little
Peekskill
physical
Playhouse. In town.
playhouse, small or medium size, makes no difference. But until you do that, you really can't go out and solicit funds from, say, the community or
Okay. Until you can
businesses.
have
Yeah.
Because they would
It's-
like to see, and as we do, something that they can physically see, that's standing. But
Right.
it'll happen.
No, absolutely. If someone were watching, hopefully, there's a lot of people watching, and they had an idea or they knew of a space in particular, what would be some of the parameters that would involve having a space like that? What would you be looking for? How many people can you seat? Or, what are you looking for specifically?
Well, a typical black box, which is 4 black walls, and then you create lighting and everything else you need is what, 99 seats?
Mary and I come from the 99-seat world, where if you're familiar with New York City and Manhattan, that is one level, one strata, a 99-seat theater.
Okay.
That's equipped, and that's about what our communities out here, if we offer them something of quality, that would be great. That would be great to have 3/4 of that filled for some entertainment.
I feel positive about that. If we did get a space, for example, at the Bean Runner, we sell out most of the time.
Yes.
And they're so generous to let us work there. But I would say a black box with could be movable chairs. We'd have to have lighting, but again, something simple. And I think that we could make it successful.
It's terrific. I can think of, right off the top of my head, of so many places that would really, look terrific. Of course, in the main center of town, I guess, where all the restaurants are and the various places. So you also mentioned earlier that you're reaching out to the youth in the area and having them come and be a part of the Playhouse experience. Why don't you tell me a little about that?
Okay.
Teacher.
One person that we've reached out to is a gentleman called Andre. His nickname is Noodle Rainey. And he actually did one of my children's shows. It was about the Hudson River and nuclear power, and it was a fable. And it was a rhyming piece, which I've done several times in different places, but I wanted to give it a fresh look. So Ted at the Bean Runner told me about him, and I said, could we do this kind of like a hip-hop feel, And he brought in some other people, and it was just wonderful. He's in his 20s, and he brought in 20-somethings as well. Because of Paul's connection with Lakeland High School, I'm also a vocal coach, private vocal coach.
Okay.
So I work with some students from the school, and we have 4 amazing 17, actually one is 14-year-old singer that little by little we've worked them into the live music at our shows. So we have theater, then free wine and cheese, and this is again at the Bean Runner so far. And then we bring these young people up, and they're just amazing. So I love the intergenerational concept. Actually, in April, on the 27th, we're doing a tribute, the band is doing a tribute to Phoebe Snow, who unfortunately died an untimely death a year ago in April. And I'm doing a whole show of her songs, and we're bringing in these young people to sing backup, even to sing lead on some of the songs.
Okay.
So as a former teacher myself, I love to have young and old together to learn from each other.
That sounds terrific. I'm sure there are a lot of students that are interested in doing that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So as you're preparing a piece or you're about to produce a piece, do you send out an open audition to people? You publish that you're going to be auditioning to have people perform?
It
or
depends, right, Richard?
Yeah, it works both ways. Mary and I are so networked in this county over, 10, 12 some odd years, that we can call on actors for staged readings or even productions. We know where they are. We know where our little groups are of actors that we've worked with.
And yet, it doesn't mean we're not open to meet someone new who would like to audition. I mean, the word kind of gets around, and so we're open to in both ends, both ways.
So the group of people that you're normally performing with, the word troupe comes to mind. It's like you use them most of the time for your performances.
They're so widely
Yeah, it's not really one
spread.
troupe
Yeah,
of people.
it's just
We'll just pull here and there from people that we know. The theater world is a very small world, and so you hear about one person or the other, and we don't consider ourselves community theater. We consider ourselves professional theater, but we don't use, because we're in the 99
Right,
seat or less,
right.
we don't have to deal with the union settings. Although down the
right.
line, that would be something that we would be want to consider maybe. But it's not really community theater.
Okay.
We don't see it that way. And that doesn't mean community theater is a bad thing, not at all. We love community theater. We've been in community theater.
Yeah.
But because we're choosing plays that are new and fresh and not the same old shows, and some people love to see The Crucible over and over, and that's
Right.
fine. That's another market, another avenue. But we want to bring new thought, new ideas, and new artists and writers to the community.
That's terrific. So each play that you put on is written by someone here in the area.
But yes,
For the most part.
Yeah.
for the most part.
Okay.
Yes, and we have a pool of actors who are used to working with new material. So that's very important also.
So just on, from a creative standpoint, what is that like, getting a hold of someone's screenplay and bringing that to life?
It's
From the costumes to who's going to be performing in it, the music?
It's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love.
It is. It's the terrific process of collaboration, and we're junkies, I guess. We got hooked on it. I got hooked on it so many years ago at school.
Isn't the term culture vulture? Did you ever hear that?
I think
That's
I
what
have.
I think we are. We just love it. We love to go to it, and we love to create it.
production? Being in production is just there's hardly a way to explain it, really. Whether it's a film, and there are a lot of people making films now. The young people that Mary was talking about, her students in voice, you can't do anything these days without involving music, because they are so connected with music and film and theater. What we're trying to do, it's not mutually exclusive anymore. Everything is together. So you really need these talents, and you need to
we
pull on them.
learn from them. We can teach them from our experience, from our knowledge, from our confidence, from our just the history of what we've done. But they teach us when it comes to digital filming, when it comes to our website, when it comes to all social media. We're learning from them. So together we're enhancing each other's interest and knowledge about the world of art, and what could be better than that?
I know that's a wonderful feeling when you sit down with someone and you take something away from the conversation and you learn something new that is going to be helpful in whatever area you're working with.
Absolutely.
It's just a great feeling.
And just like we want to bring new theater, when we do our jazz with our jazz band, we take old standards, but we also sing some new songs, and then we put a new kind of jazzy twist on the new songs. Like Corinne Bailey Ray's music, someone who's a wonderful writer. And
Yes.
again, I think that interests everyone. There's Michael Bublé, who's a young man singing the older tunes. So I think it comes down to, if you create quality and take a fresh approach, it doesn't matter how old you are or where the music or the art comes from. If you really give it that standard, it's going to create interest and excitement. And that's part of our goal. We have high standards for ourselves and for the people who work with us. And for Peekskill, Peekskill as an art center, from the performing arts, the visual arts, we just want to help to add to that quality of performance in this small but amazing river town.
That's an awesome project to like just. I've been trying to do that too. That's the whole reason I started this show, and I've been having a ball with it. Just meeting so many new people, going to see all the various things that I knew about, but for some reason wasn't really connected. Now I feel like I've got my pulse on things.
Oh yeah,
Or my finger on the pulse of things that are happening.
absolutely.
And you strike me so much as like a total like Renaissance woman. It's
Thank
like you've
you.
got your finger in a lot of pies. So that's going to bring me to the Mary Crescenzo band. So you said you started that after you'd worked on.
A show called Peekskill Private Eyes. And I met my husband, Paul, there, and I found out he was a jazz musician. And when he was working with me, as he played the tune I had to sing, he said, "Oh, a singer." So we very quickly became real great friends. And then, you know, we've been in other bands, we've done music in different ways, and we just said, why not? You know, why not make a band? We're together and let's just do it. So we sometimes perform as a duo, sometimes as a trio, and sometimes 7 or 8 people. We've been at the Winery, which is a wonderful location.
That is a nice venue.
Beautiful stage on Route 6. And then, so just to tell you that in April, on the 18th, we will be there with a full band. It's going to be great fun. It's going to be great.
So you wrote in one of your bios, I was reading that you're basically performing the American songbook with a little twist on it, something a little jazzier. If someone comes to see the band, you know, what would be what's the collection of songs you play, or is it just a variety of things? You try and set the tone? Is it?
That's a good question, because what I like to do is create a cabaret feel, a cabaret atmosphere. I'll have a theme. For example, coming up in April at the Winery, it's called Broadway Swings. And we take a lot of tunes that were written for Broadway and kind of just give them a swinging feel, as well as wonderful ballads. Last time we were there, we did Love and Loss, and had an arc to the story, so to speak, through music, from the beginning of love to excitement of love to, you know, sadness, and then reconnecting with yourself and moving on, happy or otherwise. So we like to create a cabaret feel where I kind of talk a little bit in between the music, and I don't see that happening around here. So again, I'm always looking for a fresh way to present something.
Yeah, that's so interesting you mentioned that. I interviewed Fred Smith.
Oh yes, Fred.
And he was just, bringing out briefly that, it's, for him, playing jazz, he's really connecting with the audience and trying to tap into their feelings. And I was so refreshing to hear him describe it that way. He's like, so many new artists or something are just going out there and playing things very perfunctorily. And it was just really interesting speaking to him.
Well, I think it was Quincy Jones that I recently heard say 2 things. You can't make a bad song good, no matter what kind of singer you are. And also that if you don't have emotion and the story conveyed to the audience so they can feel it,